The next video is the next installment for Riding with Thunderbolt, and we're up to Sunday, January 1st. I woke up in the middle of the night to hear Tomo introducing himself to 4 men around the campfire. I had never heard him call himself John Thompson before, so I guess something important was going on. I clambered over to them and I got to know the Bull, Fred, and 2 Scottish Bills. Tall Bill McIntosh, who wanted to be called Bill, and Bill Mackenzie, who wanted to be called Mackie. And Fred was the boss. Fred was talking to Mr. John Thompson. So you want to join the gang? I don't know whether you'd call us a gang right now. We're only moving cattle around. We've just moved a herd to the Hunter Valley. They told me you were a bushranger once, Tomo said. Fred looked at Tomo thoughtfully. You know that? He crouched before the fire, the glow catching his red beard. Well, that's gone now. 9 months gone, he smiled at Marianne. So long as you are left alone, growled Mackie. Fred muttered to Marianne, the troopers are still looking for me down there. Marianne shrugged. Well, we're not down there, are we? But the troopers are up here now, said Mackie. Fred nodded. The boss Red reckons that the JP on the next run, along with his mates, called in the troopers to protect their herds. Oh, she said. Yeah, Fred straightened and moved to her side. He had a bit of a limp, but he was quick to put his arm around her shoulders. We're all right. They'll never find us. Marianne nodded, but she didn't look happy. Fred turned to Tomo. Maybe you better stay away. There are a lot of villains among the squatters. They'll snatch any cow they see, and the JPs are the worst. But when we do it, they scream for the traps. Villains, all of them. Then Fred saw me. Hey, Shrimp, you want to be a bushranger too? Shrimp? He wouldn't be much bigger than me. I saw the men's twitching smiles and shook my head. Tomo told Fred about Uncle Pratt. Fred looked at the bruises and the burn on my arm. You've been in the wars, haven't you? Where'd you get the burn? I shrugged. Just a poker, I said. I told him the old story about Uncle Pratt stoking the fire and me dropping his plate. I think he'd forgotten that the poker was red hot when he swung at me, but I should have been able to jump out of the way. Anyway, it doesn't hurt now. What happened to your parents? Fred said softly. That still hurts. Smallpox, I said quickly. After all this time, the thick feeling in my throat is still there. Fred slammed his heavy hand on my shoulder. You can stay here for as long as you like. Then he turned and slapped his hands together. Hey, this is a new year. We have to do something. We did. We built up the fire, got the billy bubbling, and grilled roo steaks. The bull, about 18, is built like a red gum stump, and he moves like one too. The tall Bill looks as if he hasn't eaten for a year, but get him dancing and he's a lord in the governor's mansion. He danced with Marianne in the light of the fire as Fred sang, and we clapped. Bill said that he and Marianne were dancing quadrilles. It's really a dance for 4 people, but he and Marianne were so fast I made up for the other 2. Fred danced a bit with Marina, but he's better as a singer. He kept singing after the dancing was over. When he found out that my name was Ben Cross, he sang the Ben Bolt with me in it. Like, oh, don't you remember Sweet Alice, Ben Cross, Sweet Alice with hair so brown. So I had to dance to it, but I guess I was alright. Tomo imitated galahs and frogs, and Mackie told ghost stories when the campfire had died to a glow. It was a great way to start the new year. And that ends that installment for Riding with Thunderbolt.